Alright, so I guess I'll start this. This is gonna be my first video I've made since I was a teenager on YouTube. Uh, this is a little rough to get into. So we're gonna describe my life. Uh, I, people know me as Dobby, but my real name is Daniel. And, the earliest memories I have is, when I was 5, on my fifth birthday. I woke up, didn't know anything, only that people were familiar. And it went on from there. And this is my life story. I grew up in many different cities and no, only 2 states, Louisiana and Mississippi. My childhood was not a good childhood. A lot of pain, a lot of anger, but I had two goofy parents, and they helped a lot, even though they were broken themselves. My my mother, she comes from a long line of just abusive family in general, because that's just what it was for most of the families in Louisiana back then. We have a lot of hurt in our families, a lot of very messed up things, and I'll let her discuss that when she gets on the channel. My father is also the same. He comes from a military background. His dad was a Marine, and most of our family was Marines. And if you know anything about Marines, is they have a really messed up mentality after they get back home sometimes. Some of them don't really ever recover from it. And he ended up dying when my dad was 16. And the things that he did, my father, and my dad's no longer here to say anything about his life. But I can. And he had a very rough life. The early memories of my dad has told me about how every day he had to fight to live because his father would beat him half to death. That's the reason why he was literally deaf in one ear and half deaf in the other ear. Because one day his dad just grabbed the rebar out the ground and just beat him in the head with it and then left him there. And he later woke up. His mom didn't do nothing because that's just how they was back in the day. Cruel, disgusting. Glad I never met the man. Uh, every day was that for my father. Beaten, tortured by his own father. Later on, I found out that he also molested all of his children. So when I start explaining my childhood later, you start to understand how much a broken man he was, but still shown the kindness. So he lived like that every day until his dad died at 16. As being the only male out of sisters, I'm not sure how many siblings he had, as some of them I didn't really meet. It's Aunt Kathy, Aunt Becky, Aunt Terry, Terry. Can't remember his other sister's name. She died before I was born. Uh, she was a prostitute, and my dad was a male gigolo for a time to support his family at 16 years old because sadly they used my father growing up to support the family because men are always the providers. And it's been was a long journey for him. After that, he traveled around until he met my mom. He did many different jobs, and then from what I'm told, he quit most of them, stopped working, deal drugs, because that's what you did in a day when you have nothing to go back on and no one wants to help you. You turn to crime, and I learned about dealing drugs at a young age through my father and my older brother. It's mostly pills, weed, nothing really hard until my older brother got into the drug selling business. We'll explain that later. Uh, my dad went through a lot of hard things in his life, from betrayals from his family, his own father and mother, which I don't really know much about my grandmother. I've barely met her. We never really talked as we was the black sheep of the family because no one liked my mom. Uh, and that's all I'm gonna speak on that subject about my dad because if you met him of his past, it doesn't define who the man he became to be eventually. Because no matter what, all the hardship he went through, he still took care of his family, even when they treated him like trash. I grew up watching this man uh, keep helping them, filling up their freezers full of food when he had spare money, feed the homeless, and do everything else that, a man should do to help provide for anybody and everybody. He was a dick, don't get me wrong. He was very much an asshole, but he was a very smart person too. I could never beat him in chess, and I've played him hundreds of times in chess. And the only time me or any of my brothers ever won was when he led us. And that's a man with a fifth grade education, which taught me of how a piece of paper is nothing but a piece of paper and intelligence has nothing to do with that. He taught me many different things, how to have self-confidence, to learn to speak, because I was a non-verbal child. I'm just learning that I am uh, how do I put this? I'm very emotional right now. To admit this is embarrassing because I was taught my whole life I was normal and okay, but I'm not. I know that now. I am sorry, technical difficulty. My headset just died. What's the word for it? I'm blanking on the word. Too much emotions right now. Just talking about my dad's bringing up a lot of memories. The word. I'm autistic. I never spoke. I was shy, reclusive. I, if you got 10 words out of me a year, that was a lot. The only person in my childhood I really opened up to was my grandmother, and she died when I was 10, and I really closed off my heart after that. But now I know that I had all the tics and tendencies of being autistic. Had to turn the light switch on and off 3 times exactly. Anytime I entered a room, my food couldn't touch. Textures really put me off. Like the texture of spinach, cooked spinach especially. Uh, Many other things that I learned in my life. The anger that I had as a child for just anything, just unrationally angry at the small things in life that I've learned to cope with through the help of my mom and dad and my older brother with his twisted ways. Because my older brother, who's also dead due to being addicted to drugs, was also had many mental illnesses. He had schizophrenia and multi-personality syndrome. Uh, he did a lot of cruel things to me. Locked me in the trunk of a car for an hour, left me in the woods stuck in mud while his friends threw rocks at me and sticks at me. Uh, he'd beat me every day with sticks and other things. It made me strong, I guess. Uh, the mental torture. He would constantly uh, sneak out his room at night and scare me and my little brother, whispering and making voices and just doing a lot of crazy stuff. That just most people wouldn't understand. My dad was schizophrenic, had PTSD from his father, and my older brother got the schizophrenia from my dad, and the multi personality split. I don't know where that came from. but Anthony was a very, very cruel person when he was a kid. Only after years of treating himself with LSD and stuff like LSD that affects the mind was he able to actually heal his mind eventually, which is crazy. Uh, his schizophrenia really stopped pretty much, and he did very good for a very long time. Uh, and we became really good friends. We watched a lot of anime and played a lot of video games together. He's the one that started me in video games. It's something that actually made me talk to him about it, which, as you can tell from my experience with him, I hated him for a long time. Still loved him though, but it's that family hate. If you had real abuse in your life, my dad didn't know about a lot of abuse. Neither did my mom, because we didn't speak on it. Only did they find out about it is when I was about 10 years old. He tried to kill me. I walked into the bathroom of him cross-dressing and putting on lipstick. One of his personalities. And my dad didn't really like gay stuff because of his childhood abuse. And my brother freaked out, started choking me. I got away from him because I was a strong child, even though he was 7 years older than me. I pushed him off of me. I ran to the living room and tripped, fell underneath the kitchen table. So he picked up the kitchen table, threw it at me, and then ran to get the 22 rifle that my dad was teaching us to shoot with. So I ran outside. By the blessing of God, he started to shoot at me, and he missed every shot, which is nuts because my dad trained all of us to be marksmen, and he doesn't miss. He was the better marksman out of all of us because he had the most training, and he missed every shot. And I hid behind a tree until my dad finally got home, and he tackled him to the ground while he was still firing, put him into the mental hospital. Uh, After that, he started his journey into really doing drugs because they prescribed him medicine, which was his first introduction to drugs. And if they ever tell you weed is the introduction, it's not. It's doctors. Doctors give you your first pills. I was given my first pills at 10 years old, and I got addicted to lower tab 10s, and I tried to hurt my little brother. But no, I think no, I was 12. Yeah, because it happened 2 years after my mom and dad got divorced. Because after that, my mom and dad separated and got divorced over my older brother, which my mom and dad didn't have a lot of love at that time because their hearts were full of hate for what their parents did to them. My dad didn't forgive his dad until about 2 weeks before he died. In fact, that day he asked me what love was, because he didn't know what it is, because he was never really taught love. And I had to tell him that love is what you've always had for us. No matter what, you took care of us three sons, no matter how messed up we was, because I was, the good child out of the three of us. Because I'm autistic, I just stayed to myself. Didn't do stupid decisions because I rationalized everything. My dad treated me very badly because I don't beg for things like other people. If you tell me no, it's no. I don't try and take extra steps. I figure it out on my own. So, yeah, so I ended up taking care of my dad in his later years. So, to get back on my older brother, he started taking drugs, and it started with the pills, and he did marijuana, weed, and then as he was growing older, uh, he got into tattooing after some years. He was in his late 20s, and his girlfriend at the time had an abortion and didn't tell him she was having an abortion, made him pay for it, and then after she went and got the abortion, told him what she did, and he was never the same since. No matter how fucked up my brother was when it came to a child, he never hurt them. Just me and my little brother. Uh, he respected children very immensely, and he loved them and would protect them with all his heart. I've literally seen this man beat the hell out of people to protect a child after he healed his mind with LSD and other drugs like that. And then after the abortion, he really changed. I watched him become severely depressed, and then he fell in a hotel and damaged his back, and he got into pills really hard, and then got hooked on them because he has the addictive personality. And then it wasn't enough because we all have high strong tolerance because both of our parents did things in their youth and their parents did. And he got into heroin, and in 2016, when he couldn't take it anymore, when my dad had cancer, he from the stories I've heard, I don't know if any of this is true. I wasn't there, so I won't speak on it. But when the cops found him, he shot up with a bad batch of fentanyl. And to be honest, my brother knew his drugs. He was one of the smartest people I ever met. It was either two things. Somebody injected it with him, or he knew and wanted to end his life. I tried many times. My brother was very suicidal with the schizophrenia. He tried many times to kill himself after the incident of him trying to kill me. I even had to choke him out one time, which later he choked me while I was sitting down because I choked him out to stop him from shooting himself. Um, our dad didn't train us to fight. He trained us to survive. He he overdosed, and then we went to his funeral, which a bunch of people showed up. A lot didn't, because he broke a lot of bridges while he was on those drugs. He was robbing his friends and family, that he didn't like. He helped out those he did. Uh, and then my dad, he had acute leukemia, which is a poison of the blood, pretty much, where your white blood cells just start attacking your body and everything in it. So he went through 2.5 years of chemo treatment, and I took care of him during that time because I couldn't find work. No one would hire me because they could see that I was artistic the way I spoke back then, and the way I acted. I learned how to put on a facade and to speak better with my dad, as he would drill me with debates for hours, sometimes 2, sometimes 16 to 18 hours of just talking to each other. And it helped me become more articulative and to articulate the words that I say a lot better, because I had a real bad stutter as a kid. I still have it when I get excited and too emotional. It comes out, but I've learned to cope with my issues. Never understood pain and sorrow. Understood laughter and joy, but only after experiencing true loss, like my grandmother and my dad, did I understand how people feel. I was very dismissive of anything and logical about everything. Couldn't understand why people act and do things that they do. I understand a little bit more now, but my dad had it for 2.5 years, the acute leukemia, and all his family, most of my family, never really called or talked to him except a few, maybe five in total out of all the people he ever interacted and helped. Uh, the Duplanises, Jesse Duplantis and them, completely shut off all communications with him when he was diagnosed with it. In fact, they didn't even come to his funeral. Uh, that's what you get for religious people. If it ain't in for them, they ain't in for nothing. Anyway, for 2.5 years, I took care of my dad, helped clean him, feed him. We did many cool things in that 2.5 years, but I slowly watched him turn between a strong man and to nothing but skin and bones, with doctors misdiagnosing him multiple times, and they pretty much gave him acute leukemia because my dad was diabetic. He had 7 shattered teeth in his mouth, and they would not operate and take the damaged teeth out of his mouth that was causing infections to give him abscess in his gums. Enough, Momo. Oh, come on. Oh, you get to see Momo. And For 7 months, they pumped him through nothing but antibiotics every month to get the abscess to go away because no matter what he ate, the fragments of food would go into his shattered teeth and into his gums and just rot away. And the only way he could get it out is through mouthwash and toothpicks and stuff to pick it out. And as you know, shattered teeth are extremely painful. He was disabled from when he worked. He got hurt at a job, and so he was on Medicaid and Medicare, and they wouldn't pay for it because he's diabetic, so they wouldn't let them operate on him. As being diabetic, you have more inclined for your body to attack itself, but having those teeth in his mouth just made it worse. Even after the swelling and stuff would go down, he tried to make an appointment for his teeth. They wouldn't allow it. Only after him getting acute leukemia and 2 years of them pumping through the only cure for cancer that we're allowed to use of chemo, did they finally take his teeth out. But by then, the damage was already done to his body as the radiation started to slowly kill him. I watched him dwindle. The first radiation treatment with chemo went fantastic. His red hair came back. You know, one's enough. Your body can get over it. But anything after that, you get radiation poisoning and you slowly die from it. And they don't tell you how to get rid of radiation. I know now because it made me spiral down a rabbit hole to learn everything and everything about health. Because I literally watched the doctors kill my father. And I watched him going from a strong man to where he had a stroke in his sleep, and the doctors misdiagnosed him with neuropathy, which made no sense when he couldn't use one arm and one leg, and they had to carry him into the truck, and they had to carry him out the truck into the doctor's office at the emergency room. How have they got neuropathy? It's doctors, they don't care. And the ones that do don't work anywhere near pe most of these other doctors. And me and my mom took care of him during that time. And that's when we found out the news that my older brother died. And 6 weeks after that, my dad went into the hospital because we couldn't take care of him no more, and he had pneumonia. He had to go in the hospital, the emergency room, and be shipped all the way to Jackson, Mississippi, 2 hours away from where we lived. And I couldn't visit him because I had to watch my house because my brothers would steal from us. They would steal his money and his medication to get high, and I would have to watch the house because I've always been a guard dog because I stay home and just keep to myself. As being autistic, you just isolate yourself mostly and you don't talk to. I don't know what part of the spectrum that is, but that's what I am. I just stay to myself. I go in my room, don't talk, don't speak. I'll go years without talking to people, and I'm fine with it. It doesn't bother me. And so I was home watching my little brother and his old lady, which were both drug addicts, and just them destroy the house and me constantly cleaning it, trying to keep it up to my dad's level of clean and my mom's level of clean because they both had OCD. My dad way worse than my mother because of the military background. Uh, and just watch my little brother mentality the window as he watches dad die. One of the hardest things you can do is in life is watch your parents die, and then it nearly killed my mother. She was given the wrong medicine during this time, and she had many strokes from the medicine because it was the wrong medicine. They gave her a little cocktail, and it caused many strokes. She lost a lot of her memories and her functionality of her heart and stuff, which we learned later. It gave her severe sleep apnea that was slowly killing her. We found this out later, why her health issues deteriorated. All it took was 1 year and almost lost both parents. But me pushing my mom to constantly go to the hospitals for them to figure it out and them keep misdiagnosing her as they did because we couldn't do nothing but when you're on disability because she's on disability too from having to support the family because my dad was disabled and his little check couldn't cover all the expenses. And she worked her body into the ground with these corporations that just use us and throw us away. She worked many different jobs, all kinds of crazy jobs. She was in insurance, sales, security, managers, all kinds of work. She worked at a pastry and baking shop. She's been in the restaurant business all her life, 40 plus years. Uh, she's she was a jeweler. She did construction work. She did AC work. She did electricity work. Uh, just all kinds of stuff. My dad also dabbled in all that, so learned a lot of handyman things from both of them. So my little brother, slowly watched his dad die, threw him in a mental spiral, which he also got addicted to heroin because of my older brother. Because my older brother was a very cruel man at the end. He did a lot of crazy things. Uh, he, and then he went down. My little brother went down a spiral. Uh, he was he'll probably make a video later, and I'll let him explain his story. He's in recovery right now, finally becoming a better man, and I'm very proud of him. It was rough carrying everything on my shoulders for so long, helping my mom, my dad, while everyone around me betrayed me and stole from me. Even family that came to the funerals. All they came for was my dad's stuff. They didn't really care. They still don't care. No, none of them call me or nothing. I'm the weird one. Being autistic does that. Uh, Pretty much told him an asshole when all I do is try to make logic out of everything. So yeah, that's my life. I started working because I could never find a job, and I had to work for minimum wage in Louisiana, 7.25 an hour, working 50, 60 hours a week, every week for 2 years, just to be able to make ends meet while supporting a little cousin that her mother just dropped on us, moved in with us. Sorry, my headset keeps turning off because there's no audio playing. Uh, my aunt came, moved in with us after my dad died, and some other people moved in with us multiple times. We always was helping people out that lost their living situations. And she just left and left her kid that just turned 18 with us and told her to don't even come by her. Just abandoned the kid, which the kid later abandoned us to go back live with her, which I don't care. I tried my best to teach you anything. She was very lazy. She barely knew how to clean herself. Could barely walk. She didn't know how to cook. She didn't know how to clean. She had no social skills, which I learned mine through the one job I had out of all the years, was just in sales. I did door-to-door sales with some cool people. Uh, we went to Chicago and then to Boston and went around doing door-to-door sales, and that's a lot, learned me a lot to the way I talk now and how to interact with others. And she she's doing a lot better now. She got a job. I forced her to get a job so she can help pay bills. Because I couldn't do it alone on 7.25 an hour, and I couldn't find another job. No one would hire me until I found, after 2 years of working for that company, I found this driving job for offshore work, and I did that for 2 years, and it was good until COVID happened. And once COVID happened, my hours went from 30 to 60 hours a week. One time I did, I think it was 88 hours in the week. That was a rough week, working 12 hours a day to 18. I worked 18 hours in one day driving, going to places, sleeping in a van. It was that was a very rough job, being woken up 2 hours after you get home and you just fallen asleep to be told you got to be back to work in 6 hours. Now you're being woke out of a dead sleep. Crazy work. And I did that till COVID happened and my hours dwindled down to 4 and 12 hours a week. And only because they gave me 12 hours was because that's the minimum amount. So I couldn't apply for unemployment on them anymore. Because after 3 consecutive weeks of getting more than what is allowed, which that put literally me $2 over the unemployment thing, I was denied for unemployment. So I quit that job and then applied for unemployment on them and began looking for work and eventually got hired for Domino's. And that was a fantastic job. I met many fantastic people there. that helped me really become out of my shell more. Miss Sabrina, Andrew, Jonathan, and all those lovely people there. Steven and them. They're great, great, wonderful people. They're all doing great now. Most of them married and not working for Domino's anymore because Domino's is a terrible company and that doesn't care about their workers. And as a driver, I was trained to become a manager, and as I saw how the managers are treated, just abused in any way possible to the max of working because nobody would want to work for them because the pay was too low for the amount of work they want you to do because they want you, anybody, no matter if you're a driver or an insider or a manager, they want you to run the whole stores by yourself most of the time while the corporate calls all the other managers into business meetings and stuff like that or takes them all to the back of the room because they always do random pop-ups and they'll take all the people there while it's a rush and leave one or two people to do everything by themselves. Or the manager, the GM will have to go and not be there and supply other stores that don't know how to run their stores and send us to go help them get their stuff because they can't order enough or won't order enough or do their own inventory correctly. I learned how to do all that. The only thing I didn't learn as a the man manager training was how to put in the amount of ingredients we had left every day. So the stock, the end all stock every day. It's the only thing I didn't learn. I learned everything else. I knew how to make pizzas. I knew how to do most of the paperwork for all things as a manager. I almost became a manager, but I couldn't do it. I like being able to go home and enjoy my time with my mom, the little time I have left with her, because during that time her health was getting worse. In those 2 years, as we learned that she had sleep apnea, and the sleep apnea really almost killed her. The loss of memories, and then just her falling asleep. She slept for 18 out of 24 hours a day. And I would come home, she's always asleep, kitchen's dirty, the house is a mess, I'd have to clean and do all this stuff by myself while I was still dealing with the pain of my past and losing my dad with all the other jobs I was doing too. Every job I was doing this with, she was just slowly just deteriorating. And then we finally got her a sleep machine about like a half a year of me working for Domino's. And it was the best thing ever because she was able to sleep. She slept for 2 weeks. She slept almost every day for like 12 hours of just good sleep, and then she was up and at 'em, cooking, cleaning, acting like a whole different other person. And then I got on her about, her drinking too much coffee, and as I was digging into the health stuff, learning what not to do and what to do. Having too much caffeine's bad for you. Uh, she would only drink coffee. She wouldn't drink water. It was either coffee or Dr. Pepper. And then she smoked 3 packs of cigarettes a day. I couldn't afford it. It was literally costing us $700 a month in cigarettes. And she would steal out of my wallet to go pay for her habit. and I couldn't do it anymore. And then I got her to finally switch over to rolling her own cigarettes again, and that's helped out immensely. Then we went ahead and did that, and that helped her out because you don't have the fire safety chemicals that they put in the cigarettes that made her lung health worse. So she breathes better now, which also helps with her sleep apnea. And her sleep apnea has been on a recline. She been taking lion's mane. Her memory's a lot better now. So she's doing a lot better. Uh, and that's pretty much it. Pretty much here now. My grandpa gave me his old house in Louisiana. It was beaten down and full of mold, termite shit, eating wood while I was trying to fix it up, but I couldn't afford it because I was paying for food and everything else and helping people move in with me that ended up just stealing from me and breaking the house that I lived in even more and having to fix that with all the appliances, them breaking and replacing those. I couldn't fix my house. And then the hurricanes happened and FEMA didn't do nothing. Most of that money I ever got from FEMA was $750 after one storm made my foundation sink. And I finally gave up on it and sold my house to my neighbor, which he tried to get a cheap price and screw me over. Still love you, Jason. But I sold it and moved to here in Mississippi, which we're struggling now because I sold it in a time when everything was going up in price and we got screwed over again with the way the world works currently. And now I'm broke and trying to get disability because I'm all messed up physically from being autistic and just depression and the chemicals that are just all up in our food and just I've tried everything. I can't my weight won't go down. It never has even when I was a kid. I've steadily gained weight, never lost. And it's just gotten worse over the years. And I've gone to medical doctors, tried everything, gone to different doctors. It just doesn't work. So I just trying to go to the doctors now and figure it out why I can't, because no one wants to hire me because they discriminate against people like me that are big and the way I talk is very assholeish. I'm very blunt. Doesn't matter who it is. I have manners, but I'm still blunt. And that's pretty much all. This is who I am, and from now on, any videos you're gonna see are not gonna be about me. My family might get on here and tell their stories of their experiences and what they've gone through in their life. My little brother Michael and my mom Dorinda. Uh, Everybody calls him Mama D. She'll get on here and I'll get her to make a video. Thank you for listening to my story in my life. I've been struggling to make this, but God's really played it on my heart that people need to hear your story and testimony. Uh, I've gone through a crazy life, and I haven't discussed everything in it and all the experiences. Uh, Maybe I'll write a book. Who knows? And I'll put my mom, dad's, and my brother's experiences in it too. And it will be a biography of us and our life story, what broke us and made us anew. Well, anyway, y'all have a blessed day. Thank you for if you lasted this long. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see more of you. And you decide to comment in the bottom, go ahead, say your life experiences, and put your own testimonies, man. And don't be afraid to put your truth out there. What's happened to you in your life and how you've overcome it. Because you never know what your story might touch another person's life and change theirs, as many have changed mine. Anyway, stay blessed and just know Jesus loves you and there is power in his name.